Ole Miss played their best game of the season against the Iowa State Cyclones, and they are on to the Sweet 16 to take on the Michigan State Spartans. Hey, we need to bring in Tim Thomas and talk all about it. This is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, I'm Steven Willis from the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, going to be joined in a second by Tim Thomas, former Ole Miss player, to talk about the game that happened, Ole Miss going to the Sweet 16, and a little bit about Michigan State as well. So stay tuned for that. But let's go ahead and bring Tim in right now. Tim, this was by far the best game that Ole Miss played all season. They basically was able to string that Kentucky first half well into the second half of the game. And you're just sitting there like the 5-minute mark, you're up by 27 points, and you're like, I don't even understand this. Ole Miss is going to ease into the Sweet 16.
Yes, former ladies coach at Tennessee, Pat Summitt. Offense sells the tickets, defense wins the games, and rebounding wins championships. First couple minutes of the game, I thought, whoa, what are we going to do here? But finally, Beard, one of his rants on the sideline, he woke these guys up, and they all came together, and the rest of the game pretty much, except for a little short time in the second half, Iowa State came back for a little while. Then they finally went ahead and just shut the door.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because what you're talking about, the first 5 minutes of that game, Iowa State dominated. They just were bullies. They were mauling almost the boards. Honestly, it looked like the Mississippi State game, to where they'd miss a shot, get the rebound, miss the shot, get the rebound, and they'd get 4 and 5 chances in a possession. I would imagine after the first 5 minutes, Iowa State had 10 rebounds. But after that, to your point, Chris Beard was able to calm them down, and they kind of played even with them on the glass for the rest of the game, and they were just a menace on the defensive end of the floor. And when that happens, when Ole Miss plays even with you at rebounding, you do not beat Ole Miss.
Yeah, they played really well. Beard's always said it. Players make the plays. You know, Beard is an elite coach. He has some elite assistant coaches to give him the flowers. They do a real good job. You can tell he listens to them on the sideline. He's got several guys. They all been head coaches. They know what he's going through. He takes most of it. Some of it probably don't, but he realizes they've been there, done that, and they're all for the greater good, right? I said something last week. 7 guys have scored over 1,000 points in their career. This is a good team. I feel good about this team going against Michigan State. Hey, you know, Tom Izzo, I understand that, but hey, we're going for you. We're coming for you, and I think Izzo may be a little scared.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. The one person that was really scared in the second half was probably TJ Otzelberger from Iowa State, because whenever you're just looking out there and what turned out to be an athletic mismatch in that game. Now, honestly, the Iowa State game looked like whenever you played a good mid-major type program. Ole Miss was athletically better across the board against them.
I believe he's in shock. They showed him up close several times, and big old muscular guy. I'm proud for him, but he was in total shock. They saw him. I saw his eyes go back and forth and up and down, and just what are we going to do? What can I do? He couldn't do nothing, man. Ole Miss was playing well. I mean, you got to give Badula, and Morrell was back. Wow, that was so glad to see. And Brakefield made a couple of plays that one parallel shot. I don't know how that happened, but
I have no idea how that went in.
I think he felt like it was going in. He kept his eye on the backboard. He saw that little spot on the backboard that he was going to hit that box where he would go in. He knew what he was doing. Dia, outstanding plays, stepped back on a couple of threes and took it to the hole, made some good plays inside. I hope we can keep him one more year. I don't know if that's possible, but several. Dre Davis didn't have a really good game. Flackett came in, gave us a few minutes, but it was Barnes gave us a few good minutes. I guess Brown Jones must be out of town, out of country. I'm not sure what's happened. Wish him well, but he hadn't showed up at a game. So it's personal reasons. It would be nice to have him back to give us a little break here and there, but I think we're okay without him.
Yeah, and this is just my opinion. I've heard nothing one way or another, but Brown Jones, honestly, I don't expect him back. And the reason I don't expect him back, is because Chris Beard after the game gave Cam Brent a scholarship.
Yeah.
And they probably did not play this season down a scholarship, which means that had to come from somewhere logically. So it just kind of makes me wonder what's going on, but good for Cam Brent getting that, because he's kind of the cheerleader guy of this team. Like, he's the one that's doing the bracket update things in the locker room, and they're rallying around him. He's kind of a hype man for the team. So good for Cam Brent, but I don't know if I expect Michael Brown-Jones to come back.
Yeah, we played mighty well without him. It might be better off without him. But Cam Brent, was that cool to see after the game, give him a scholarship? I knew his dad a little bit. He coached there actually with Andy Kennedy, Wayne Brent, and he also coached at head coach at Jackson State. His father, I stood in line with him getting into one of the Tad Pad games a couple of years ago. I got to talk.
He was the high school coach of the Provine Posse, like Justin Reed and those guys, and he came up with Rod Barnes. This is his first trip to Ole Miss, I do believe.
Yeah, I've heard good things about him. Don't know him personally. We talked for several minutes there in line waiting, but Cam Brent, he's a big part of the team. Beard, I think he choked up other night when he first gave him the name tag to put on the bracket. I think he was really choked up about this kid. He is always positive, always encouraging, and you need those guys on the team. You need people like Flappy come in, not looking to shoot. We got plenty of shooters, right? So he just used to play defense, and man, can he rebound? It's so nice to see people hustling, and he I think he causes the team to play harder when he gets in there. So it's good to have him there. Barnes, I thought he'd done some real good things. He didn't score a lot. He don't have to. Everybody else was hitting. So it was good to see. Proud of this team, and on to the next. Padula said, on to the next. We're going to Atlanta.
Yeah, in Atlanta, I misspoke in the instant overreaction last night and in this morning's show. I said the game was at Mercedes-Benz. It's at State Farm Arena. It's the home of the Hawks. Yeah. The get-in price for it right now, to get in the door, see the game, $540 to get in the door.
Yeah, me and my wife and one of my sons, we plan on going. We'll see how that goes. I got a few contacts here and there. We'll see after 40 years how good they are. But we got us a hotel already. We plan on heading down there. Sweet 16. I'm gonna say we're going for it. I'm saying we got a chance. I think they're probably gonna be a favorite, but Tom Izzo, really good coach. But you got to believe, and I think all Ole Miss fans now understand the idea that why we needed Chris Beard, whatever happened back in the day, hey, it's all over. It's changed. Things are changed. We're Ole Miss. The baseball team's playing well. The football team is doing good. The girls' basketball team's doing great. It's a good time to be Ole Miss Rebel.
Thanks again for checking out the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. When we come back, we'll continue talking about that Iowa State game and move our attention a little bit towards the Michigan State Spartans. But first, I do want to let you know daylight savings time snuck up on us again, and if you're feeling that lost hour of sleep, 5 Hour Energy has got your back. Like if you stayed up watching Ole Miss beat the heck out of Iowa State, you might be a little bit tired today. That little extra sunshine means more time for fun, but it also means you might need a little boost to power through. Whether you're staying up late watching those games, squeezing in a round of golf after work, or just trying to keep up with the busyness of your day, 5 Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. I've been staying up late watching all of the tournament action, and 5 Hour Energy helps keep me awake the next day. Seriously. Whether I'm at the game or traveling, 5 Hour Energy is easy to grab and keeps me feeling refreshed. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, pink mango. You can even build your own 24 or 12-pack delivered right to your door. But if you need one now, grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery store or convenience store. They are everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized. All right, we are back with Tim Thomas today. Listen, this is a big game for Ole Miss. Ole Miss in the first half, like I said, they had that slow start where they got mauled. Then they went on a 22-2 run. That is the point where I think they just kind of exhaled and looked at everything going on. It's like, we're better than this team. You could almost see the team. And then after that, there was no giving up. There was no conceding to Iowa State. It was just honestly a good old country butt whooping.
Yeah, they've been working on this as we've talked about it all year, all during the summer. Beard preaches culture, and a lot of teams do that. And you say, "Oh, he's just another guy." Culture. Collectively. What do we? He picked these guys out. He does a great evaluation. Him and his coaches, they pick these guys. Well, everybody he's got, it was playing. Everything he does is playing. We got 5 or 6 players about every game in double figures. I mean, that just don't happen. He said it was playing. I don't know if he's that good, but I'll take his word for it since we're in the Sweet 16.
He might be, yeah.
He's down to detail. I've talked to the secretary there a couple of times, Kara, a great lady, Kara Hobson. I said something to her one day about, I'm trying to get some tickets for a game, and I'll have to check with Coach Beard. Hey, man, he is detailed. He is full-fledged all the way out. He watches and sees everything, and you tell during the game, that mind is clicking. I love to watch it when they do the close-up. He is clicking. He is way ahead of us. He's already thinking about the next play, and they work the plan. The players, you got to give them credit. Whatever the plan is, they trust him. You hear them in their interviews. Yeah, Chris Beard, this is what he said we need to do. So they don't even hesitate, man. They do. They don't look back, talk back. I think Dia said we have to do the stone face. That's what they call it, because Beard gets up there pretty close to the face, and they take it. They asked Dia, said, "Hey, what do you think about that?" He said, "I know he knows what he's talking about. I know he has the greater good for me and my professional career. We realize that. We've figured that all out. We've come together. We're kind of like him." And that's what's happened over the last couple of weeks. We talked about about a month or so ago. Didn't seem like they were taking on Beard's personality. But I believe now they're there. I believe they trust him. He trusts them. And the players are making plays.
Yeah, it's really, really cool to see, honestly. And this week, Ole Miss made the Sweet 16, and I was all upset last week, Tim, by the way, because North Carolina being a play-in opponent meant that I couldn't do the bracket breakdown, and Ole Miss had to make it to the second weekend before I could be on Amazon, just as a personal career thing. That would have been really cool for me. This week, I have already booked my Amazon appearance. I have done the ABC 24 Tegna station. That one's booked. I have a crossover with the Locked On Spartans. This is basketball. I am in full football mode with the way that I'm going about doing stuff, but it is about college basketball, Tim, and that is unbelievably cool.
I'm proud for you. I'm glad you're on the bandwagon. A lot of people are starting to get on the basketball bandwagon. It's because of Coach Beard. In the past, just hadn't been there. I admit it, when I played in '81, we won the SEC tournament. That's the only way we got to go to the NCAA tournament. Actually, we played in Wichita. We played Kansas, got beat our first game. But it's a fun time. It's March Madness. But I'm proud for you and the things. You can tell my future's not in broadcasting, but I try to do my best. And I feel good about this team. Beard said it many times, talked about that the defense is part of it, the rebounding. And the rebounding really came through. We don't, like you said, we don't have to lead rebounding. We just got to be there close. And we got
we just have to lose by 10. Just 10 or less. If you lose the rebounding battle, you're going to be fine. If it's over,
turnovers,
you're not going to be able to catch up. But against Iowa State at the beginning, it looked like that could spiral quickly to the point where you were about to get mauled by like what Florida did to Ole Miss, beating them like 55-20.
Yeah, I kind of attribute that to Malik Dia. He came through a couple of times right there and Padula made a few plays, a few passes. I've always kind of considered Malik Dia, I hate to say it, but that head case sometimes. He's really into the game, and all of a sudden he's gone. He's off left field, right field, center field, somewhere. He just kind of loses concentration. But when he is on, when he is consistent, man, he can be an elite player and it has a great potential. The now just kept talking about him. So he can make plays inside. I wish he'd go inside every time. But it is kind of nice when he stepped out there and they don't believe he's going to make it, and he just drills a three. And it really made a difference there those first few minutes to get us ahead when we made that big run.
Now, let's take Janai Broome out of this equation because, yes, I'm not going to say that he's as good as Janai Broome at this moment. But when Malik Dia is on, like completely on, like the Malik Dia that plays against Alabama this year, that Malik Dia, he's a top 2 or 3 big man in the Southeastern Conference.
He can be. You're right. Exactly right. But he's just not consistent. That's when I hope he comes back. I think Beard needs to pay him whatever he needs to pay him and get him back one more year. He struggles on defense. That's his issues. He struggles going out on threes. He struggles inside, blocking out properly. He done better some of the second half. I think Beard got right in his face a few times, kind of splattered spit on him. Ooh, I didn't say that. But he got on him pretty hard, and he took it. He did his stone face and took it, and he went back out there and just kept going. So I don't know, maybe he was probably 30 minutes consistent, the other 10 not. But this team, to beat Michigan State, all our guys going to have to play for 40 minutes because they're going to be good.
Yeah, they're going to be real good. And when we come back, we will turn our attention to the Michigan State game. And Tom Izzo, once he got word that Chris Beard would be his opponent, he kind of reacted. You didn't have to be like an expert on body language to figure out what was going on there. But I do want to let you know about Game Time first. Imagine watching your favorite team live, feeling the energy of a Sweet 16 game against Michigan State, witnessing unforgettable moments like Sean Padula going for 25 or Malik Dia going for 20. There's nothing like experiencing a big game in person. Getting tickets should not be stressful. That is where Game Time comes in and makes it easier than ever to grab last-minute seats at unbeatable prices. I just checked the Game Time app. There's amazing deals, but the get-in price right now for the Sweet 16 is about $540 a ticket. That is expensive. That's crazy. But Game Time does have you covered a little bit. They have the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. With a seat view, before you buy, there's going to be no surprise fees and the lowest price guarantee. You can book with confidence, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time, and you can get a little bit of a discount off of that high get-in price right now. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Again, that's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
All right, let's go back to Tim Thomas and talk about what's going on. Michigan State comes to town. Ole Miss played Michigan State. We've actually been to the tournament enough to where there's repeat opponents popping up now. Ole Miss has actually played Michigan State in the NCAA tournament. Now, it was last millennium, but Ole Miss did. Mateen Cleaves and the Michigan State Spartans beat the Ole Miss Rebels. I think they went to the Final Four, the championship game. That was back when Michigan State and Tom Izzo was humming. What's going on? Chris Beard and Tom Izzo played in the Final Four the year that Chris Beard went to the championship game. He beat Tom Izzo, and because of that, after Tom Izzo beat New Mexico and Richard Pitino, he was told, it's like, Ole Miss is your next opponent. And he's like, oh, Ole Miss won that game? And then he's sitting there going, Chris Beard won that game. And you could just see the expression on his face to where it's like, okay, well, this is going to be a job. We have our work cut out for us here. And honestly, with the way that Ole Miss played, Michigan State's probably going to cut on that film, and they should react a certain way.
Yeah, they were like the CBS commentators, Tim Doyle, that I saw. He finally said he himself was a fraud, and he put a little thing in his little jacket, "I'm dumb," and apologized to Ole Miss graduates. He apologized to Oxford, Mississippi, Ole Miss. That was good to see. But all those guys, your state predicting the game, Iowa State. So, that's what that's their prerogative. That's their opinion. And I guarantee you, Michigan State coaches, were not scouting Ole Miss. They were scouting Iowa State. That's who they were ready for. So that's my opinion. When Tom heard that, he said, "Ooh, maybe we should have scouted Ole Miss a little bit more. I got to get on the plane and we really get down on this because, like you said, he's played them before. He knows he's kind of pesty, and they play this crazy defense, and no one can figure it out. And when they think they got it figured out, Beard changes it. He had they were not switching the inside guys towards the end. They were keeping the big guys covered up by the big guys, the biggest we got. So Badula and Murray were not having to go down and get caught in bad situations. So when they think they got it figured out, TJ thought he had it figured out. He changes, and it was good to see. They asked Beard, winning the national championship, what do you think? He said, let's see, probable, no. Possible? Absolutely. And that's the way he sees things. He's been saying this since when he first got here. The first day, I remember seeing him at the pavilion when they welcomed him, Keith Carter welcomed him. He's been talking this Monday night, playing on Monday night. And everybody thought, man, who is this guy? Does he not realize that this is Oxford, Mississippi, and we ain't never had nothing like it? He believes that. That's what he thinks. And these guys are believing it now. And Michigan State, who are they? It's on the front of the jersey. It's Ole Miss. That's all Beard is worried about. He tries to figure out what they do and do this, and he puts the people on the right plays, doing the right things. But it's all about players making plays. And right now we got a group of seniors, 7 of them that play a whole lot, and a couple other guys that come in, and we're playing real well. So I feel like we're going to beat them. I'm going down to Atlanta myself, State Farm Arena, and hopefully we'll pull another upset, they call it.
Yeah, and one thing that's interesting to me, and I don't know if you've noticed this at all, but this NCAA tournament, the rims have been really hard.